Okay, hello. So this video I'm going to be going over the four views on salvation. I'm going to be explaining each one in Christianity, how they're different, um, the definitions of each, descriptions, which one I believe in, um, and I'll give you why. Okay, so the first one is Arminianism. So this is what most mainstream Christians believe. Um, the call, so this is the definition. The call is given to every person equally to be saved, and they may freely reject or embrace it. They might even accept it for a time and later reject it, but only those who accept Christ will be saved. So, pretty much, Arminianism is that um, God, pretty much, Jesus died for the sins of everyone, and then pretty much we could choose to either accept that or reject that. And then if you reject it, you're not saved, but if you choose to accept it, that means believing and trusting He died for you, and then you could go to heaven when you die. Um, and yeah, that's it. So yeah, salvation is possible for everyone, and then you could choose to get it. Now, the second one is Calvinism. This is the one I believe in. And the definition is God before the beginning of time chose those whom he would save. They cannot reject the call. They will not reject the call, and it is only to them that the call is given. No one else will be saved. So Calvinism teaches that when the moment Adam sinned, pretty much we got what's known as original sin and became totally depraved, so that we naturally don't want God, is what this doctrine teaches, I believe. We naturally don't want God. We naturally, um, we naturally sin. That's why I believe literally every single person on earth has sinned. There's not one person without sin. And so you may ask, then, if we naturally don't want God, how do people believe in God? Well, I believe it's known as unconditional election. It's that God chooses, as I mentioned earlier, God chooses who to save, and the reason they get to believe in Him is because He regenerates them through His irresistible grace, and pretty much changes their desires in their heart so that they believe, and then He's in complete control of who that happens to. So, the people who believe in the Bible or Christians believe Jesus took all their punishment, they are saved. Um, they're always saved. Once saved, always saved. The Bible's clear on that. Doesn't mean you're going to live a perfect Christian life, but you will go to heaven when you die. You can't lose your salvation. And the final thing about this is Calvinism is Jesus, because God knows who's going to save. He's in complete control of it. Jesus only died for the elect. He only died for Christians. Elect just means all Christians. So yeah, Jesus only died for the Christians, not the not elect. So then we have Molinism. Molinism is pretty much the same thing as Arminianism, the first view. The only difference is that God, because He's omniscient, chose the He could see all these different worlds of possibilities of what would happen. And Molinism says that He chose the world where the most people would choose Him. And yeah, yeah, that's pretty much the only difference between Molinism and Arminianism. Arminianism pretty much teaches. Arminianism just teaches that the world just came into God's mind and He didn't choose between the different worlds, but Molinism teaches that He did. And then finally, Universalism teaches that everyone is saved. Jesus died for everyone. Everyone's going to heaven when they die, whether or not they believed in God. And so, yeah, well, whether or not they believe that Jesus took their punishment, because people can believe God is real but not be saved. But yeah, that's well, the Universalism teaches that everyone's going to heaven no matter what. And another thing, before I end this, another thing about um, the difference between Calvinism and Arminianism is Calvinism, not all of them, but most have the idea that God determined everything. That so like to like if I like this video for example, God determined before the beginning of time that I will be making this video on this very day. But under Arminianism, I am using my free will to make this video. And Calvinism believes what's known as compatibilism. So while God determines everything, we're still responsible because it's not like we're being forced to do our actions. We're still doing our actions. They're coming from us. While they were determined by God, they're still from our desires. So, yeah, that's pretty much everything. Yeah, I just believe in Calvinism. I think the Bible's really clear on it. It literally says that God shows us in Him before the foundation of the world. It says He declares the end from the beginning. It sounds like determinism. It says that we throw the dice, but the Lord determines how they fall. Um, it says God does everything He wants, but if He wants everyone to be saved, He's not doing everything He wants. It says God can do everything, no purpose of His can be thwarted, but under Arminianism, people can reject God and His purpose is thwarted. So I think the Bible's quite clear on Calvinism. A lot of Christians, not a lot, I don't want to say like a lot, but a bit over the majority. There's still a lot of Calvinist Christians, but most Christians reject Calvinism. And there's a lot of anti-Calvinists out there, and I just think it's because they don't like the doctrine, from what I've seen, and they just want to feel comfortable with Arminianism, even though it's unbiblical. But it is what it is. But anyway, that was the 4 views explained, and I hope you learned something and enjoyed this video. Okay, bye now.